Whoops, I lost something there. Sorry. Okay. Janice, good morning. Bravo. All right, go ahead and share. See how many people we can bring in today. Friday before the holiday. Go ahead and invite those people. Hey, Clara, over on Clout Hub In. And to all of you out there, happy Valentine's Day. Hey, Wayne, happy Valentine's Day. Danielle, good to see you. Happy Valentine's Day, Jennifer. This is what my husband got me for Valentine's Day. I don't know why he does it, but he always does. Okay. So anyway, I'm great. How are you, Danielle? Cute. Yeah, I know. Good morning, Jennifer. All right, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. Real fancy. Oh, how cute. Yep. Does Gracie like it? Gracie hasn't seen it, because if Gracie saw it, she'd probably, who knows what she'd do. Hey, Tim. It's another Gracie. Last year he gave me a teddy bear. This year it's more of a husky dog. I thought I said that. Yeah, I know, Wayne. I thought it was from you. I had to look twice just to make sure it's from my husband. Hey, Gillian. But yeah, this is my little husky. Good morning. Prayers for me, please. I have the flu. Oh, Linda, no. Linda has the flu. Everybody, please pray for Linda. Also, my friend Sherry just got back from, they did a biopsy on her husband to try to figure out why his spleen is twice the size. And they came back and said they're going to have to do some further testing. It's called a low margin lymphoma. I don't know what that means, and I don't know what that means for the future for him and what he would have to do. But please, if you will, continue praying for him. His name is Andy. Yeah, he did like your dogs would, Jennifer, probably. Hey, Thomas Kincaid, good morning. Good morning, Tia. Miss Andrew Vaughn, good morning. Robin's praying for him. Thank you so much, Robin. So I don't know when they're going to get the results back from that testing, but maybe it's better than them saying, "Oh yeah, for sure, it's lymphoma." Maybe there's some leeway in there. Thomas Kincaid said elderberry extract. Is that for the person with the flu? For Linda with the flu? So anyway, I'm going to read to you Psalm 41, and again, if you would invite your followers, that would be wonderful. Blessed is he who considers the poor. The Lord will deliver him in time of trouble. The Lord will preserve him and keep him alive, and he will be blessed on the earth. You will not deliver him to the will of his enemies. The Lord will strengthen him on his bed of illness. You will sustain him on his sick bed. I said, Lord, be merciful to me. Heal my soul, for I have sinned against you. My enemies speak evil of me. When will he die and his name perish? And if he comes to see me, he speaks lies. His heart gathers iniquity to itself. When he goes out, he tells it. Amen. Let me let one dog out. Come here. Come on. You want to go out? Here. Come. There you go. All right. Sorry. The dog wanted out. Praying for Linda and the large spleen for Andy. Danielle said yes for flu. Thomas said. Okay. All right. So let's get started. This morning there were the First Lady visited a children's hospital. Boy, the nastiness in the comments. Woo, people. She was sitting there giving love, showing love, encouragement, treating them kindly. And then you had the negativity from the trolls who, hate her for whatever. I think if they and all of us would show more love and kindness and encouragement to people, it will be so much better. I am believing God. Hey, from Kentucky, how are you? She's so sweet, and I hate that she gets attacked. I know. She's doing absolutely nothing wrong. Her last name happens to be Trump. And so no matter what she does, people on the left either laugh at her, troll her, hate her, whatever. Hey, Grateful Mike. But she's such a gracious First Lady. I'm so thankful we have her as the First Lady. It's so nice to watch her. Her grace, her beauty, her intelligence, all of it. It's just so nice to watch. And for somebody to be envious of that, because that's what it is. It's being envious and being jealous. Hey, Barbara, Satanists only know how to hate. It's true, Clara. They are jealous of her. Yes, real fancy, they are. who let the dogs out. Good. I like that, Thomas. Hey, Paula, good morning. They are jealous. They totally are jealous because, there's no reason to do that. I mean, she's not even doing anything political. She's talking to sick children in a hospital, loving on them, giving them encouragement, sitting there, doing little Valentine's uh, crafts, I guess, for their parents. I mean, my gosh. And she waved to their parents and just, treating them nicely. I guess that's what you get when you treat people nicely these days. You get hated on. So Jennifer said, I'm from Kentucky too, and I love my first lady. She's doing such a great job trying to bring us together, unlike Michelle Obama, who tore us apart for 8 years. Morning all, getting kicked in and out, Barbara said. Yeah, it's probably one of those days, Barbara. You either have trolls or, nobody will be able to get in. Thomas is laughing. I'm convinced they hate themselves, so they hate others. Well, real fancy, if you are lashing out at other people and showing hate towards them, what that really means is that you feel bad about yourself. That is absolutely true. Because if you didn't feel bad about yourself and could have hate yourself, then you wouldn't have so much hate that you put towards others. What's in your heart comes out your mouth, right? So if you are, if you feel good about yourself, you have a loving heart, you love other people in general, then what should come out of your mouth and out of your head and out of your soul should be love towards other people. If they're being mean to you and all that, you can defend yourself. I'm all for defending yourself, but just to out and out hate people. And sometimes, let me tell you something, sometimes when you hate somebody so much, you see something in them sometimes that you wish you had, and sometimes you see something in them you wish you weren't. And so that's why you hate them, because you hate that about yourself. So just saying. She's very elegant first lady. They are just haters. That's right, Paula. Good morning, John Lott. Good to see you. It's not what goes into a man's body that defiles. It's what comes out his mouth. Yep. I walk away from negativity. Hey, Danny. Yeah, it's best to walk away from negativity. That's one of the reasons, that I've always told you. I don't really like to get into arguments with the left. It's a waste of my time, a waste of my energy, and it goes towards negativity. There's a lot of reasons I don't watch people on Periscope when they're spewing their hatred, spewing their F-bombs, spewing all this other stuff. I don't want anything to do with that. Life is hard enough without bringing that and inviting that into your home, into your being. Yeah, Claire, that was yesterday's news about the little 6-year-old girl. Yeah, that was horrible in South Carolina. It's horrible. So anyway, just kind of remember that when you're lashing out at other people, it's something probably about yourself that you don't like. So maybe you should do some self-reflection first. Okay, now some breaking news. The U.S. stock markets opened near record high as China trade deal takes effect today. So that's good news. Emmanuel Macron's candidate for Paris pulled out. That was for the mayor. Hey, Teresa. He pulled out of the race after a sexually explicit video on social media sites came out about him. I just saw flowers, candy, and a card are nice, but John 3:16-17 is real love. Absolutely, Thomas Kincaid. Good morning, Karen Powers. How are you? Also, President Trump is working on a middle-class tax cut that they hope to have in by September. They hope to give the middle class a 10% tax cut in addition to strengthening and making permanent some of the other tax cuts that are going to, eventually expire. And it said many of the individual tax cuts that he gave in the Jobs Act of 2017 will expire in 2025. Hello, Elaine from Louisiana. How are you? So good for President Trump. Hope he gets those tax cuts. We could all use them, and that'll be a really positive thing. So we'll see what he gets done there. Bringing it on in September would be good, right before the election. Letting people know that once again, this president is serious. I'm doing well, Karen. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. Okay. Now, yesterday, you saw that Attorney General Barr came out and said that it was time for President Trump to stop tweeting, that it was kind of interfering with him doing his job, and on and on and on. Listen, if you don't think President Trump knew how AG Barr felt, and that he knew that AG Barr was going to go on ABC and say that, then you don't know nothing, as they say. Good morning, good word spoken. Thank you, Charlene. So the president knew, and then his Grisham came out, Stephanie Grisham came out and just said, the president appreciates what he says, blah, 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 whatever, and the president will continue doing basically what he wants to do, and Barr can do what he wants to do. So, but they already knew. Please pray for Aussie Prime Minister suffering from the creeping evil. He is a practicing Christian and a nationalist, Gillian said. So prayers for the Australian Prime Minister, who's being attacked because most likely he's a Christian and a nationalist. So anybody who's Christian and nationalist is pretty assured that they're going to get attacked. And even if you're Jewish and nationalist, as we've seen in Israel, the same is going to happen to you. So also, the Democrats right now are wanting to find out and do anything that they can against President Trump, and by coming up and saying, we want to impeach Barr. First of all, impeachment would not be what would happen. But anyway, so this is a way for Barr to say, look, I'm not in the president's pocket. I'm publicly telling you I'm not in the president's back pocket. Unlike Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch. But, I digress. So this is a way for him to do that. This is a way for him to move forward. He's going to be going and talking to them in front of the House in March 31st. So it's just a way to kind of set himself apart. Barr just want Trump to stop tweeting. No, Brian, that's not it. I mean, I think that he probably doesn't like it when President Trump tweets about stuff that they're doing. But think about this. President Trump is separate from what Barr is doing. He doesn't know what Barr's doing. What Barr does in the DOJ, the president really has no information about, or he shouldn't have, and I'm sure he doesn't. None of the other presidents really did. So if Barr is going out and he's investigating things and what details they are, the president wouldn't know about that. So yes, it would make Barr's life a lot easier, but President Trump's going to be President Trump. Danielle, just what I don't know if you just heard me, but what I said was, I'm sure the president knew already he was going to go on national TV and say that. He just wants Trump not to tweet about cases he's working on. But even then, Robin, President Trump doesn't know about the cases that he's working on. I mean, he knows of them, I guess. Hey, Lori. But he doesn't know what's happening with those cases. It would be like you and me. I know kind of what the DOJ is doing. And if I wanted to tweet out about my own personal opinions, yes, it's different from the president doing that, but there's no harm in the president doing it because he's not involved in those cases. Should President Trump, maybe not talk about Roger Stone so much and stuff? I would say if he's going to do it, maybe just do it in general. Say things in general like, okay, Stone, I think somebody needs to look into Stone's case because this is crazy or something, and just move on. Could be a master plan between Barr and Trump. I'm sure it is, Clara. That was my point. Barr needs to repair his own crooked lawyers within the DOJ, worry less about tweets and more about internal corruption at the DOJ, Karen said. Holder and Lynch was okay, but they are Democrats. Holder and Lynch weren't really okay, John Mott. They were in the back pocket of Obama the entire time. Please keep up to date about Bill de Blasio. I'm praying that he gets removed from his position, Jennifer said. Happy Valentine's Day, Sandy. Back to you as well. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, Trump just needs to focus on tweeting against the crazies running on the left. That's fun to see. Yeah. And I don't blame him. Thank you, Jerry. Happy Valentine's Day to you too. I don't blame him for saying something about Roger Stone. Now, I know, maybe Barr didn't like it, but somebody needed to say something. I mean, when you see something that is so far unjust, you need to say something. That was totally unjustified. You're talking about like 8 to 9 years for potentially lying. When again, Comey and McCabe haven't even been spoken to about it, and they don't have any sentences against them. They don't even have any charges against them. Thank you, dear woman. Thank you, Sandy. Yes, I know, I was being sarcastic, John Bott said. Okay, John. So anyway, it's my whole point in all of that is Barr and Trump are kind of on the same page. Is Barr in Trump's back pocket? I don't think so. Barr's been at this a long time. Political bias on Stone trial, excessive sentence. Exactly, Jerry. And anybody with any common sense could look at that and know that. You don't and the president tweeting about it, he's just tweeting about what everybody else knows. It's obvious. He didn't say, "Oh, the Barr is looking into removing the prosecutors," or all that. He never said anything like that. And if Barr can show that he did stuff independent of the president, yeah, I know. I guess you want your life to be a little bit easier, but whatever. It'll be what it is. All right, so I'm waiting to see what Barr does before I castigate him. Jerry, I don't think there's any reason to castigate him. I think that President Trump already knew what it was going to do. He already knew he was going to go to the publicly and say that. I find it disgusting what the left did yesterday to limit the president's power. Real fancy place. His powers have not been limited. Let me explain that again, why the president's powers were not limited yesterday by the war powers little document that they put into play. Congress is the legislative body that declares war. Now, it's not even that real fancy. Listen to this. The Congress is who declares war. The president's powers under the Constitution allows for him to bring up the military anytime and every time that there's an imminent threat against Americans or, Americans in and outside of the United States. He has the right to do that, and he will continue doing that no matter what Congress did yesterday. What Congress, that little wars plan thing is that President Trump can't declare war. Duh. You didn't need a war powers thing to tell you that. The president just doesn't. No, he doesn't. I don't know what yes he does, Adams. What you're saying, but anyway, I guess you're saying maybe you're agreeing with me that the president can protect the United States when there's imminent threat. Now, the only thing that the president can't do is saying I'm going to war with Iran. He can't do that anyway. It's another smear and disinformation tactic. Yeah, and T. Adams, I really am disappointed that any Republicans would vote for it. And I read you the list of the 8 that voted for it. Rand Paul, Mike Lee are 2 that I recall. Lamar Alexander, those non-really Republicans. Susan Collins, Murkowski, those people. Because it has no impact. It has no effect. President Trump's not going to declare war on Iran. He never did. He never has. He never will. It's stupid. It's stupid. Rand Paul did it because he's a libertarian. He wants to limit government. I understand that. But, Rand, stay out of it. When you know the Democrats are using you, Rand, stop it. Okay? Just abstain from voting if you got to do something. But don't fall into their trap. Hillary smashes hard drives and phones and nothing happens, Cully said. That's true. President Trump keeps laying traps to the Pelosi gang and they fall for it every time. Yep, Tim, that's true. Hello, Carol Williams. Yep. Do you think the Stone case will get thrown out because of the juror? No, I don't think it'll get thrown out. I think you'll have to ask for a new trial and see what happens there. Now, even let's say he doesn't get a new trial and he's denied the new trial by the judge. He's going to appeal that. If it goes against him, he's going to appeal that. And as soon as the judge says, if his attorneys bring a case that this woman was prejudiced and she lied when she did the voir dire, they're going to appeal that. So it will go to the appellate court if the trial court says, no, sorry, you can't have a new trial. So, you'll have to wait and see what happens there. I think I have a little script of what she said. Let me see if I can find that really quickly. I think I wrote that down somewhere. The Stone jury was structured to be against Stone. Well, and T. Adams, some of that, if the people were lying, that's one thing. If they weren't lying and they knew that they were prejudiced against Stone or Trump, they should have gotten rid of them and not allowed them to sit on the jury. Okay, here's what she said supposedly during voir dire. And when this is the let's see, the attorneys for Stone. And when we asked what you read or heard about the defendant, you do understand that he was involved in Mr. Trump's campaign in some way. She said yes. And they said, is there anything about that that affects your ability to judge him fairly and impartially sitting here right now in this courtroom? She answered, absolutely not. What is it that you have read or heard about him? The attorney asked. She said, so nothing that I can recall specifically. I do watch sometimes paying attention, but sometimes in the background, CNN. Okay. So I recall just hearing about him being part of the campaign in some belief or reporting around interaction with the Russian probe and interaction with him and people in the country, but I don't have a whole lot of details. I don't pay that close attention or watch C-SPAN. The attorney said, can you kind of wipe the slate clean and learn what you need to learn in this case from the evidence presented in the courtroom and no other source? And she said yes. But her social media posts show that she was closely tuned into the Russia probe, and she considered Trump and his supporters to be racist. She tweeted in August 19, 2017, a tweet that referred to Trump as the, quote, Klan president, hashtag Klan president, and apparent reference to the Ku Klux Klan. She blamed Trump supporters for being racist in another tweet, saying, then stop being racist. Co-signing and defending a racist and his racist rhetoric makes you racist, point blank. So she has a lot of, you can say prejudices and bias against the president. And did that impact how she felt about Roger Stone? Well, like I said yesterday to the person who came in here and thought what she did was perfectly okay, even if she lied, imagine your own family member sitting there in a jury like that when let's say somebody that you worked for that they hated. Are they, isn't your question going to be, well, do they hate me because they hated my boss and I work closely with them? So that's got to be a question. She was the same judge against Michael Flynn. He was totally set up, Sandy said. She was backing Mueller, Sandy said. So CNN, I know, Tim Marvin, that should have counted her out right away. So they didn't know about her tweets, obviously, or, you can assume that they didn't know about her tweets before she came and sat on that jury. Now, that would be like me if they said to me, could you be fair, Susan, in a case with Obama? And I say, oh, absolutely. No reservations whatsoever. I don't know that much about him. And then they go find out every tweet that I've tweeted for the last 8 years. That's going to make me look like I lied. Okay. Same with her. So how that's going to turn out, I don't know. But there's certainly a question. They didn't do due diligence. Well, T. Adams, I don't know that your due diligence has to go beyond the courtroom. You expect to have answers from people that aren't lying. I mean, you can't go and look at social media for every single person or go to their last employers and what did they do and all. That's not what the system is supposed to be. The system's set up for people not to lie. Unfortunately, we have people these days that do lie, but it's supposed to be that they can trust what you're saying. Now, maybe in the future, maybe they will have to start looking at social media. CNN was first on the site of Roger Stone's home before even the police were there to arrest Roger Stone. Yes, Sandy, that's true. Yep, that's true. We all know that they're in bed with the left wing, let's just say. All right. So also, prosecutors recommended a 5-year prison term for former Baltimore Mayor Catherine Pugh, who pled guilty last November to conspiracy and tax evasion linked to her self-published Healthy Holly children's books. She was indicted for allegedly running a multi-year scam using her books to boost her political career and pad her coffers. Is she going to get 5 years? Probably not. I could see probably with the judges that they have in Baltimore, it wouldn't surprise me if they gave her a slap on the wrist and probation. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Could you see that happening? No thoughts whatsoever. Nobody has a thought. Are you guys still there on Periscope or did you go away? Yep, agreed, T. Adams said. T. Adams, I tried to find your you on um, Twitter because you had asked me to send you like a link or whatever to the wreath that I make. I never found you. So I don't know if you can send me, somehow DM me and I can send you the link if you still want it. Let's see, Brian. Is it a federal case or a state case? Hers is probably a state case, but I don't know for sure. I would imagine it's a state case. If that, probably not. Yeah, I think she'll probably get a slap on the wrist. Really? Okay, thank you, T. Adams. Yeah, I try. I didn't forget you. I tried to find you. I couldn't find you. I'm here just getting ready while watching. Have to leave right after the show. Okay, Robin. Yeah, I totally understand. Please pray again for Robin's son who's having surgery right after the show today. Pray that all is just smooth sailing and healing is quick. All right. Now, Sharpton was pardoned for $5 million tax fraud. That's right, Clara. Yes, I will. Thank you. Baltimore, 6 months or nothing, Tim said. That's probably what you have. No problem, Renee. That's okay. Glad you're listening and driving. We don't expect you to be texting or anything. California, you can't touch that phone if you're in California. Now, this is probably one of the most ridiculous things that I've ever heard. So, you know that it was presented by a Democrat not in Congress, but in state leadership. Probably 2 years suspended and a couple of years probation, John Mott said. Yeah, I just feel in my gut she's not going to go to prison. Okay, a Democratic Alabama lawmaker introduced a bill. Listen to this. This is not a joke. That would require men to undergo vasectomies when they turn 50 or after the birth of their third child, whichever comes first. Representative Rolanda Hills introduced the legislation, and as the synopsis states, under the existing law, there are no restriction on the reproductive rights of men. So the proposal specifically states the bill relating to family planning to require the man to undergo a vasectomy. Hey, Marlene, within 1 month of his 50th birthday or the birth of his third child, whichever comes first. It also states that a man would have the vasectomy at his own expense. The proposal is a response to a bill passed in the legislature last year that included a near total ban on abortion. So she's trying to make a point. Number one, this is absolutely unconstitutional. You know, she's crazy. Just read a news article saying U.S. prosecutors seeking 5 years against her. Yes, Brian, they are. That's what I was just saying. But they're not going. I don't think that's going to happen. If she lives in Baltimore, it sounds like a sentence within itself. Don said, "True, Don." So that woman in Alabama, the legislator, she's just a feminist, I guess, trying to make a point that, you know, if you want to ban women from having abortions, then we'll require you to get a vasectomy. Now, I don't know if this woman is black or white or Asian or what her ethnicity is, but I don't know if she remembers the laws that were passed because they were trying to sterilize black people. Do you remember that? And trying to sterilize other people. Do you remember that? And that was unconstitutional, illegal, and all kinds of bad. So maybe you should go back and familiarize yourself with that instead of saying stupid, crazy, weird stuff. Isn't there any way to rescind that pardon on Al Sharpton since the so-called president was illegitimate? Thomas Kincaid said. Thomas Kincaid, that argument will go on forever, I guess. So anyway, just ignore that person in Alabama. She's obviously lost her mind. That's how Planned Parenthood started. Marlene said, yep. And you know, again, if this woman is black, some of the black people should be reminding her that. She's from the People's Republic of China, probably, Linda said. Could be. That was the premise of Planned Parenthood being created by Margaret Sanger. Yep, T. Adams. That's what Danielle, or was it Danielle who just said that? I believe it was. No, it was Marlene. Yeah. Okay. She was a eugenist. Yep. She sure was. And let's just say, T. Adams, let's say it like it was. What Margaret Sanger wanted to do, she felt that black people were inferior and she wanted them not to be able to have children because of that thought. So let's say it like it really is. And so this woman is just basically, she obviously doesn't know history. Obviously isn't sensitive to the history of what happened a long time ago. If you want a heartbreak, watch One Child Nation on Netflix. Yeah, Marlene, that I can't even imagine that. Hey, Tom, she's a nut. Yes, on HBO. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's funny. People are talking about the coronavirus and how these people being dragged out of their homes and how it's so horrible. These same people who are saying that, and I'm not saying they're bad or wrong or whatever, but the same people that are saying that, where were they when they were dragging women out of their homes to abort their children because they already had one child in China? Nobody said anything about that. Post about her is on my Facebook from Yellowhammer News, John Mont said. And you're talking about, that woman from Alabama. She's a black Democrat, not being racist, just stating the fact. Wow. There's too many people in China. Well, Sunshine, there's not a one child law anymore in China. China's a police state. Well, it's a communist country. Sanger said something like black people were the weeds in the garden to be removed. Yeah, Sanger was a crazy woman. Sanger also, if you look into more about Sanger, she really spent her time away from her family, let's just say. And she had children. She kind of left them for her husband to raise while she went off and, had sex elsewhere. Two-child nation now. Yes, Marlene, that's what China is now. But don't forget, Margaret Sanger is idolized by Hillary Clinton. She just loves Margaret Sanger and also got the Margaret Sanger Award. So if they gave me a Margaret Sanger Award, I would give it back and say, no, thank you. But not Hillary, because Margaret Sanger is her idol. Okay. In West Virginia, Joe Manchin. You remember the other day, Joe Manchin, he had to vote against the president and vote for impeachment. Now Joe is saying, I could potentially endorse President Trump for re-election. Does that make any sense? And the point is, no, it doesn't make any sense because it was just a political move in the first place. We are past the halfway point. If you guys would go ahead and please reshare, retweet, re-invite, I would really appreciate that. And we'll get started 1 second as I try to get this. All right. And we're back. He's trying to save his political career now. I know, Brian. Isn't that just awful? Manchin is a wimp. Manchin is just weird. He's too late, baby. Yeah, he's like Romney. Romney who could, oh my gosh, I had to vote again. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You were just a bitter Romney. You were just bitter. And Joe is just trying to save his career like everybody's saying. Okay. Virginia is still, I'm telling you guys, if you live in Virginia, it's no better now than living in California. Virginia has become the East Coast California. Really has. They voted, the State House of Delegates voted on Tuesday to place Virginia in the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. Romney is bitter because he didn't get Secretary of State. Exactly, Sunshine. And he didn't get president. Manchin is feeling the heat at home. Probably, Tim, right in Utah. So basically, what happened was that Virginia is saying right now in the House that if you vote in Virginia and you vote for President Trump and the popular vote of the nation is for somebody else, and that's who they're going to say in Virginia won. That's going to put all their electoral votes towards that person, not towards Trump. NC is getting as bad as Governor Cooper. Yeah, well, I told you years ago, I know I've been saying it over and over every day practically, that what starts in California does not stay there, and it's speeding up. That's against the Constitution and can be taken to court. Well, it's going to have to be, but so far, Robin, nobody's doing that yet. So, and it would be a shame to kind of wait until after. But see, right now, you have to have 270 electoral votes. And it'll only go into effect when the cumulative total of the state's electoral votes surpasses 270. which would require the states that voted for President Trump in 2016 to sign on. That's not likely to happen. We need to lock up the people who don't support Trump. No, we don't, but Asheville, North Carolina is full of Satanists. Yeah, Clara, unfortunately, Asheville, North Carolina is my hometown. That's where I was born. And I can tell you all kinds of stuff that went on in Asheville when I was a kid growing up that I felt was just pure. I could feel the pure evilness around it. And I'm not joking about that. I've got things that we'll talk about in another scope sometime. But I don't remember Asheville ever being like as bad as it is now. And from what I've heard, I haven't been back to Asheville since 1999, I think was the last time I was there. But from what I hear about Asheville, it's amazing. Do you see the video of the Virginia pastor praying against abortion on the state house floor? I did not see that, Brian. Good for him. It is very sad, Clara, because Asheville is a very pretty town, and North Carolina in general. I love NC, but watch out for rhinos. What's wrong with Asheville? Sunshine, there's a lot of talk that people say about Asheville having a lot of evil and Satanists there. I don't know because I haven't been back there. I'm just telling you my own personal experience. Did all of your family move away too? Lori, I have one family member still in Asheville. My parents stayed there. They're deceased. My other brother left. And so did you party like it was 1990? No, I did not, Wayne, but yeah, no. In 1999. No, I went back in 1999, unfortunately for bad reasons. My mother was passing away in hospice. So the last trip there wasn't a pleasant trip, but yeah. The Virginia State House Speaker got mad at him and she gavelled him down because of his prayer. Wow. You know, Brian, it's okay, wait. It's all right. It's amazing the kind of the evil that the feeling there. When Pastor Jack Hibbs, I understand that he said that when he was there at the State of the Union, he was saying that you could feel the evil in the room there, and you could hear the hissing of people in the room, and this is at the House chambers. So, evil can be anywhere depending upon what's going on. So I don't know. I always thought, and I still to this day believe it, that the property that we were on, we found a lot of Indian arrowheads. And I just feel that we may have been on an Indian burial ground. I don't know. I can never say that, but it was just weird. And I'm part Native American, so or part Indian. I can say that because I'm 1/8. But it just felt there was, like I said, a lot of bad things, a lot of spiritually bad things happened there. So, and that could be anywhere. That just happened to be my experience in my hometown. So anyway. My neighbor is evil, Sunshine said. Well, sorry about that, Sunshine. Really, that's not a good thing. All right, so, but I'll tell you what is great about Asheville, North Carolina, if you ever go there, and that's the Biltmore House. That is a beautiful, beautiful mansion, although bad things happen in the mansion because they had slaves back then in the mansion, but it is well worth going through. About 200 rooms or something like that in that mansion. It's owned by the Vanderbilt family, and it is amazing. You could spend all day in there and not see everything. So, okay. Virginia lawmakers passed legislation in both chambers of the state legislature that would allow illegal aliens to obtain driver's licenses. Now, it still hasn't become law because, one, there's some discrepancy about the requirements that the House wants as compared as the Senate wants in the state legislature. So they'll work that out and it'll go to the governor's desk. And I'm sure he'll probably sign it because, again, Virginia is the California of the East Coast. Republicans in the House and the Senate are introducing legislation that would block federal funds from states that allow illegal immigrants to obtain driver's licenses. And that would be great because that would mean California. Sorry, husband came in with roses, chocolate, and wine and steaks for dinner. Wow, Barbara. I guess he's really trying to score some points there. How nice. So anyway, I don't know if that's how that's going to be, but it's called the Stop Green Lighting Driver Licenses for Illegal Immigrants Act, and it would block funds to sanctuary states, specifically those awarded under the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant, which is the top source of federal criminal justice funding for the states. I'm praying that that works. Discernment was all over that room. You could even feel it through the TV. Yeah, I know, Sandy, it was bad. Tim said 1/8 is much better than 1024th that Pocahontas, or Liz Warren as she's called, has. Bernie Sanders is in North Carolina right now. Well, there you go, Gillian. Not a reason that North Carolina is evil. No, I'm just kidding. North Carolina is not evil. So some other things that are going on. I just have a mishmash of stuff because there's so much craziness going on. A school district in Madison, Wisconsin will become the latest to abandon the traditional letter grades, reporting for a kinder, gentler assessment system. So one father came, his daughter came home. He didn't know that there was a change. His daughter came home and her report card said this: EX, exceeding. Student consistently exceeds grade level expectations, meeting, just a letter M. Student consistently meets grade level expectations. D, DV, student is developing understanding, is approaching grade level expectations. And E, emerging, student begins to show initial understanding of grade level expectations for the end of the year. So in other words, you're not going to know how well your kids are doing because everybody's going to get a trophy in that classroom in Madison, Wisconsin. You're not failing. Hello, Mayra. You're not failing. You're just developing for the most part. And you'll get there when you get there, Grade, that's ridiculous. Yeah, that's ridiculous. There are some schools you can't even use a red pen to grade their papers because red, that's in California that I know of, because red is so bad. It'll make them feel bad. So you can't use red. Today is the second anniversary of Stoneman Douglas High School shooting. Schools here are code yellow today, Jerry said. The left wants our children to be dumbed down, and they're doing a good job of it. Real fancy place. Flunkies. Yeah, I know, Tim. I mean, it's just ridiculous. People need to know where they stand. Children need to know sometimes that you fail at something, but you can turn that around and you can do better the next time and actually succeed and grow. But if you never have any failures, you never have any reason to strive to do better. And if you can't compete, you can't, strive to do better. I'm imagining that sooner or later they'll get rid of the grade point average and it'll just be okay or not so much. We live in a crazy world. I'm waiting for the rapture. Don't know about you. Okay. President Trump, thank God that we all of my children went to private schools. Good, real fancy. That's nice. No, System Crawl, I won't blow you a Valentine kiss, but I will say Happy Valentine to you. They're too busy educated about bedroom issues. Exactly, Chezzy. My husband still uses red ink when grading. I bet he uses a straw too, Robin. Don't disappoint me and tell me that he uses a plastic straw, because then we'd have to not be friends ever again, okay? So, all right. No, all right, that's it, Robin. We can no longer be friends. I'm going to block you from my scope now because that's just horrible. What else does he do? I use a straw all the time. Well, I hope it's not plastic, Danielle. I hope it's not plastic. Shame on you if it is. There's no worse. Let me just tell you something. There's no worse thing than going to a restaurant, asking for a straw and be given a paper straw. Try that. Paper straw. Give me a break, California. Give me a break. I only use plastic straw. He's a conservative professor. Oh, no. Don't tell anybody, but we have plastic straws at home that we use. You take your own, Clara said. Oh my God. And Robin, please don't tell me you use paper bags or that you ask for plastic bags at the grocery store without taking your own bag in. How dare you? How dare you, Robin? Oh, my Lord. God help us. I'm telling you, people, you've got to wake up about California, because if you think it's funny in California, it won't be so funny when it comes to your town. Oh, didn't know there were any conservative professors left, HGM said. Yeah, at least we know Robin's husband is. That's a good thing. The elderly here would gun those paper straws shut, gum them shut. Thank you. I'm going to make plastic straws and put them on a necklace so you can use it at your favorite restaurant. Thank you. And he loves Trump, Robin said. Oh my gosh. There's just no hope, is there? There's no hope in the world. Yeah, California just gets crazier every day. We voted in California for the death penalty. And I was just reading something that instead of reinforcing that and enforcing the death penalty, which the governor says we're not going to do because we need to be better than that. They're going to try to rehabilitate those people and turn them out, is what I understand. I hope I'm wrong about that. They thought paper straws were changed years ago because of all the tree huggers chopping down all the trees. I know, Sandy. They don't even know what they want. They give paper straws to the special ed kids at school and it doesn't work. Yeah, well, it wouldn't. Okay, it is really past time for the Bible reading. God help us all. God save us from all the lunacy in the world that's going on. Let's start in Romans chapter 3. God's judgment defended. What advantage then has the Jew, or what is the profit of circumcision? Much in every way, chiefly because to them were committed the oracles of God. For what if some did not believe? Will their unbelief make the faithfulness of God without effect? Certainly not. Indeed, let God be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, that you may be justified in your words and may overcome when you are judged. But if our unrighteousness demonstrates the righteousness of God, what shall we say? Is God unjust who inflicts wrath? I speak as a man. Certainly not. For then how will God judge the world? For if the truth of God has increased through my lie to his glory, why am I also still judged as a sinner? And why not say, let us do evil that good may come, as we are slanderously reported, and as some affirm that we say, their condemnation is just. That was hard for me to get out. Whatever. All have sinned, verse 9. When then? Are we better than they? Not at all. For we have previously charged both Jews and Greeks that they are under sin. As it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. There is none who understands. There is none who seeks after God. They have all turned aside. They have together become unprofitable. There is none who does good, no, not one. Their throat is an open tomb. With their tongues they have practiced deceit. The poison of asps is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are in their ways, and the way of peace they have not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Now we know that whatever the law says, it says to those who are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped, and all the world may become guilty before God. Therefore, by the deeds of the law, no flesh will be justified in his sight, for by the law is the knowledge of sin. God's righteousness through faith, verse 21. But now the righteousness of God apart from the law is revealed, being witnessed by the law and the prophets, even the righteousness of God through faith in Jesus Christ to all and on all who believe. For there is no difference, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus, whom God set forth as a propitiation by his blood through faith to demonstrate his righteousness, because in his forbearance God had passed over the sins that were previously committed, to demonstrate at the present time his righteousness, that he might be just and the justifier of the one who has faith in Jesus. Boasting excluded. Verse 27. Where is boasting then? It is excluded. By what law? Of works? No, not by the law of faith. Therefore we conclude that a man is justified by faith apart from the deeds of the law. Or is he the God of the Jews only? Is he not also the God of the Gentiles? Yes, of the Gentiles also, since there is one God who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through faith. Do we then make void the law through faith? Certainly not. On the contrary, we establish the law. Abraham justified by faith, chapter 4. When then shall we say that Abraham our father has found according to the flesh? For if Abraham was justified by works, he has something to boast about, but not before God. For what does Scripture say? Abraham believed God, and it was accounted to him for righteousness. Now to him who works, the wages are not counted as grace, but as debt. David celebrates the same truth, verse 5. But to him who does not work, but believes on him who justifies the ungodly, his faith is accounted for righteousness, just as David also describes the blessedness of the man to whom God imputes righteousness apart from works. Blessed are those whose lawless deeds are forgiven, and whose sins are covered. Blessed is the man to whom the Lord shall not impute sin. Abraham justified before circumcision, verse 9. Does this blessedness then come upon the circumcised only, or upon the uncircumcised also? For we say that faith was accounted to Abraham for righteousness. How then was it accounted? While he was circumcised or uncircumcised? Not while circumcised, but while uncircumcised. And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith, which he had while still uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all those who believe, though they are uncircumcised, that righteousness might be imputed to them also, and the father of circumcision to those who not only are of the circumcision, but who also walk in the steps of the faith which our father Abraham had while still uncircumcised. The promise granted through faith, verse 13. For the promise that he would be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through righteousness of faith. For if those who are of the law are heirs, faith is made void and the promise made of no effect, because the law brings about wrath. For there is no law, there is no transgression. Therefore it is of faith that it might be according to grace, so that the promise might be sure to all the seed, not only to those who are of the law, but also to those who are of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. As it is written, I have made you a father of many nations, in the presence of him whom he believed, God who gives life to the dead and calls those things which do not exist as though they did, who contrary to hope in hope believed, so that he became the father of many nations, according to what was spoken. So shall your descendants be. And not being weak in faith, he did not consider his own body already dead, since he was about 100 years old, and the deadness of Sarah's womb. He did not waver at the promise of God through unbelief, but was strengthened in faith, giving glory to God, and being fully convinced that what he had promised he was also able to perform. And therefore it was accounted to him for righteousness. Now it was not written for his sake alone that it was imputed to him, but also for us. It shall be imputed to us who believe in him who raised up Jesus our Lord from the dead, who was delivered up because of our offenses and was raised because of our justification. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there just because that's a good place to stop. We'll pick up with chapter 5 on Monday. And this also gives people time that need to go. Yeah, I know Wanda was looking at property in 29 Palms. Your childhood home changed my mind after all the recent political nonsense. Yeah. So anyway, everybody go out and enjoy your Valentine's Day. I am headed out to hopefully go to the beach and be at looking at God's beautiful beaches and water today. If I am there, I'll try to at least put a video up for you, or maybe even Periscope from there. Hey, Teresa, it's always wonderful to see the ocean and know that God's beauty is so much there in the ocean and the piece of that. So where's the place you would like to reside, Susan? Well, Jerry, I would love to reside by the water. It's why you love California. It is, Barbara. I really love being near the water. I don't know how much longer that will be. I'll be able to do that and stay in California, but I need to be by water. I love the ocean. It's beautiful, whether it's the Atlantic or, the Pacific. I miss the ocean. I know. Have a wonderful, lovely day. Please pray for my family. My 93-year-old aunt passed away. Oh, God bless her, Teresa. I know she's in the arms of God, but it doesn't help the family. And I pray that, well, it does help the family, but I also know that it still hurts. And I pray that your family will find peace. Happy Valentine's Day from coastal North Carolina. I like the coast of North Carolina. I used to go there and I love it. But, I don't like hurricanes. So if I could just find some place that have the hurricanes and all that, it would be great. Anyway, happy Valentine's Day to all of you. Have a great day. God bless you. Have a great weekend. We'll see you again on Monday. And maybe, like I said,